Kia ora, my name is Lara, also known as ScrappyKea. I'm really excited to be a guest designer with the creative design team for the February Love Your Stash Challenge. This challenge is about us getting into all the products that we've sort of put aside or haven't used yet. These are the different areas that we'll be focusing on through February. Today I'm going to be using embellishments from my stash. What I've done is I've pulled together a bit of a scrapbooking kit from all of my leftover bits and pieces. At the end of a kit, I take the papers from a bag, or not the end of a kit. Once a catalogue's finished, I will go through my kit bags and I'll pull out the big sheets of paper, just like this Blossom kit here, which is current. There are some big sheets and some scraps. Scraps go in a bag, and then these big sheets go into a 12 by 12 storage container where I can just pull from them when I want. So that paper there that we're just looking at is from You've Got Class. This paper is from Heart Happy. This paper here is from Happiest Place. This one here is a brushed paper. And here is one of our previous mix-in papers, as well as a paper from Blue Skies collection. So you can see that I've pulled lots of papers from lots of different collections. I was thinking about the photos that I had coming up that I might want to scrap and how these might look. So these are some sticker sheets that have got leftover stickers on them that haven't been used yet that I think could work for a few of these pages. And now we get into the embellishments, what this focus from this process video is really about. So this one here is kind of a vintagey collection. I haven't used many of them, and I'd really like to challenge myself through using this stash kit to use it in some way, shape or form. So we'll see how we go with that over the next few layouts. What I do with leftover stickers from those sheets, if there aren't many left on it, I'll cut around them and put them into these Ziploc bags that I just showed you. And when I'm doing that, I kind of put them in a group so that all the words like that together word just there would go in a words bag. There would be native or nature bags, or shapes or hearts or arrows and things like that, and they all go together. These ribbons you can still get in the shop. I absolutely love them. Useful for just lifting up any page. And then there's a few other ribbons there that I grabbed, as well as some of the wooden shapes from a collection last year, I believe. Some of the Aurora acrylic shapes. Love the see-through and the colour of those, and some little clear stars and tabs, as well as one from the Summer Vibes collection. Because I've got a few summer pages, it's summer over here in New Zealand, I thought that these might be useful to pull together. So the photos I'm going to be scrapbooking are of my daughter at one of the waterfalls we visited on the west coast late last year, and I'm going to use the cover of our March-April catalogue for the basis or the idea of this page. This catalogue is amazing, so you'll look forward to seeing what's in it when March starts. So I have cut the heart shape out using the Cricut, and you could hand cut this. My friend Melissa has a video showing how you can hand cut a heart from cardstock if you don't have a die cutting machine. Now I'm using some of our shimmer brushes to add some splatters around the edge just for a bit of interest, because I didn't want a completely white edge due to there being lots of embellishments planned for this page. So I have pulled out their colours there, and now I'm just looking at the papers behind and which ones will bring out the photo, the sort of the feature photo of my daughter. So I've chosen a few here. Now I'm going back through them to try and work out which one will make her pop out of the page the most. And I settle on this pretty pink. And I'm going to just arrange the photos like this. I seem to decide fairly early on that this is how I'm going to do it. And so I'm pulling out some of these leaf shapes, some of the wood bits and pieces, and this word smile. Now I start by putting it in down here, but then I do end up shifting it a bit later on. And now some of the Aurora shapes. There's going to be a few words on this layout, but they all fit with what my daughter and I are doing on this trip. So you can see that I'm just sort of placing things. I'm not sticking anything down yet. I'm just getting a general idea for how things might work and what parts of the kit will go with the page. it's kind of a really fun process. After showing you all the embellishments earlier, I popped them all into a little kitchen bowl so that I can just sort of flick through them and have them there in front of me. So the black stars are from the Happiest Place collection, I believe, and they're a nice sort of almost opaque rather than see-through acrylic star. And I did try to bring in the sort of gold frame, metallic frame there, but it wasn't going to work with the colours on this page. So now I'm just sort of cutting around some of the stickers in some of the sheets, and I'm just sort of placing them on there because before I stick them down I want to see what that's going to look like. And just going through, and the way I'm sort of holding some of these sticker collections is sort of over the page and working out if the colours are going to go, if the theming's going to work right or not. So you can see that I'm pulling in from heaps of different collections. Don't be afraid to mix stuff up. The colour book that Close to My Heart has can be really helpful if you're wanting to bring in colours, because if you look at the back of our zip strips on the paper, there'll be sort of a suggested colour palette from that collection. So you could play around with that and then bring in those colours if you're not confident in choosing what you think looks right. So I went through my scraps bag and I found one of the star cardstock, which I think is from the Happiest Place collection. It had these, it was the beautiful blue, and then it had the nice silver stars tied into it as well. Now, because I don't need the full sheet of paper behind the heart because it doesn't go right to the edge, I'm going to trim it off, giving me a bit more paper to keep in my stash, but also helping me to get this page together. So I'm just putting glue right around the outside of it. I want to leave sort of the pockets or area inside the heart there where I can poke stuff under from the inside. So I didn't glue it around the heart shape specifically. So I've matted my photos onto some white daisy cardstock, and then I have put them onto that gorgeous cardstock with the silver stars on it. So now I'm just using part of the zip strip there, and I'm cutting that down and tucking that under parts of the photo. And again, just starting to rearrange things and sticking a few of the things down. Now I do put some of the thin foam tape behind the photograph, and I do end up pulling that up a little bit later on, so I probably shouldn't have quite stuck it down, but that's okay. It worked fine in the end. So now that I've got my photos on there, I've decided that I've got a few embellishments, but I need a few more. When I checked back at the March-April catalogue, it was very full. So here's one of the pieces that I decided needed to tuck in behind, and I had to lift up the photo that I had already stuck down, but it worked again perfectly fine anyway. So here we go. Here's some of the stickers that I had selected from those sticker sheets, and I'm just placing them at different points around the heart shape as to what works, as well as having lots of little fussy cut papers from my scraps bag that I can stick around the edge of this heart shape. So I picked a lot of the florals, and although the topic, the photo isn't necessarily of florals, it's about enjoying getting away with my daughter, time together, school holidays, sort of treasured moments, and something that I want to remember. So that's the heart, and just it being sort of a girls' trip brings in the flower sentiment. So the circle and the hey, that's my girl, are quite more of a thick chipboard. So I'm just holding my fingers down on that one just to make sure it's going to stick properly. And now I'm going to use the green Tombow to stick down my wood shapes around the edge here. Now you'll notice that the smile word's not really going to fit where I've now put the live for moments you can't put into words circle. And so I relocate that a bit later on. So I really like these little, this black strip with the white hearts, and I decide that I want to pull that into my page. And after playing around with that, I decide that it's going to go down the bottom. But before I stick it down, I want to create a little bit of a cluster down in that bottom left. And using a bit of foam tape to pop up one of those fussy cut flowers. So that word escape, I end up deciding to put up the top there. That part of the photo was where my daughter decided she wanted to get closer, so she sort of crossed this sort of low stream. So this is where I end up putting the word smile up the top here. It relates to the photo down below where she has got a big smile on her face. It was a nice stop in our walk. We were able to just sit by this nice big open area, lots of round stones, and just enjoy the sunshine after being in the car travelling for a while. So putting some of the liquid glass in behind that word escape, using that fine tip applicator. I use this glue when I'm using the clear embellishments. It just seems a nice easy option where I don't have lots of sort of might have some glue over the side. You don't really notice it once it's all stuck down, so it's a perfect choice for these clear embellishments. Glue dots would probably work really well. I just like the strength of the liquid glass here. So the little black stars, because they're more opaque, I was able to use the white Tombow glue. This glue does dry clear, so once it dries you won't notice it. So that star up the top left there, when I have, with the finished layout, when I look at that, there is no evidence that there was sort of white glue bits on the side. So now just going through the little clear stars, although you can't see them as well perhaps on the video, they just add a really nice subtle detail around the places where they're put, just another dimension, and you do sort of notice them when you're looking straight at the layout. So I'm just adding my journaling in down here, just found a space that I thought it would work, and it stuck near that main cluster. As well as being under that live for moments you can't put into words circle, it just sort of helped bring in the story together. Now I am using the liquid pearls just to create some spots of interest around the page, and I've pulled out 3 of the colours, and I'll link those down below at the end of this video. You can check that out. So I just used the 3 colours and just went around the page looking for areas that could handle a bit of interest, and just to draw the eye in a little bit, sort of makes you go in and think, oh, what's that there? So here we go, a finished page using lots of stashed embellishments and a few close-up shots of some of those parts. And just showing the layering with the photo and the acrylic shapes. And you can see some wee liquid pearls dots tucked in there at different points as well. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe and check out Julie's work tomorrow. Julie will also be focusing on using up her stashed embellishments. If you decide to join in and use some of your stash, try hashtag CDT Love Your Stash. We would love to see what you get up to in using your stash this month.